What's up, YouTube? Tim is here. Here is my Throwback 7, where I talk about the films that turns 10 and 20 this week. Alright. And boy, the 10-year one, man, I remember seeing last season there's 10 years ago this week. But anyway, the films that turn 10, we of course got the Oscar winning film Argo, which, of course, if you guys don't know much about the story here, this movie did win Best Picture at the Oscars in 2013. It is actually based on a book of the same name. Where like this operative named Tony Mendez, played by Ben Affleck, lets to rescue the six U.S. diplomats from tyrant Iran under the guise of filming a sci-fi film during the 1979 to 81 Iran hostage crisis. Alan Arkin. John Campbell was one of the few actors to actually get appear in a Oscar-winning Best Picture back to back. Of course, the year beforehand, he won his film The Artist won Best Picture, so that's really cool right there. But yeah, Argo, which is very still odd that Ben Affleck did not get Best Directing nomination because he actually won those DOG's Directors Guild of America DGA and he won for that, but did not even get nominated for Argo, which was very odd at the time. But Argo was still so good. I mean, Ben Affleck was great. The other cast was good. I mean, come on, one of my favorite lines in this is Argo, F yourself. Literally one of my favorite lines in also turning 10. We got the Kevin James film Here Comes the Boom. Now, this is where like Kevin James plays this biology teacher named Scott Voss, who ends up finding out that there's cutback that joins the school's music program, and its teacher played by Henry Winkler, and so he goes into action and decides to with some money to save the music program by becoming an MMA fighter, and this is a really all right. Also turning 10, we got Sinister, which Sinister. I admit, there's lots. It's actually listed as one of the most scariest movies of all time. But to be honest, I was never big with Sinister. I mean, this is maybe one of the few horror films that people like, but I was not a fan of. I mean, despite being directed by Scott Derrickson, who just gave us the Black Phone just recent, it's where like it stars Ethan Hawke, who plays a struggling true crime writer whose discovery of videos depicting grisly murders in his new house puts his family in danger here. I mean, it had some moments, I guess, but I just was not all that big for it. I mean, Sinister 2 is probably worse, but the first Sinister I was not really big with at all. It just did not really, it was not scary at all. Ethan Hawke did the best he could, but yeah, at the end of the day, I could never really get into Sinister. So, yeah, anyway. All right, another horror film that actually turns 10 is a movie called Smiley. Not to be confused with the recent horror film that just got released, Smile. This is called Smiley. Now, if you guys don't know much about Smiley here, this film came out all the way back in 2012, and it actually starred a former YouTube star Shay Dawson, who is probably canceled at this point. But hey, and here's about this mentally fragile college student played by Kathleen Jarrett, who believes that she will be the next victim of the serial killer who can be summoned through the internet. This movie did not really get much love or anything, but when it actually got released by AMC Independent, and I had a fun time with Smile. It is dumb, but it has some really fun kills to it. Uh, the killer aspect in this is intriguing. So yeah, it definitely has a bit of a scream vibe at times. But yeah, Smiley is a really fun flick to check out. All right, now also turning 10, we got Seven Psychopaths. Now, Seven Psychopaths was actually I'll probably actually be doing my review for this month because I'm actually going to be talking about Mark McDonald movies because of his new film, The Banshees of Inisherin. But 10 years ago today, he, of course, reunited with Colin Farrell for the black comedy film Seven Psychopaths. And it had a really cool cast. You had Colin Farrell, Sam Rockwell, Woody Harrelson. Of course, after this, Woody Harrelson and Sam Rockwell would actually follow this up with Three Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which got released about a couple years after, and was also directed by Paul McDonough. You also had Christopher Walken was in this. It is a really fun flick. Really, the dark aspect was really cool. I'll be doing my review for this, like talk more in depth about this film when I do my review for it. But yeah, if you guys have not seen Seven Psychopaths, it's maybe one of the most underrated, underappreciated black comedies to come out in recent years. So definitely give Seven Psychopaths a go. All right, now time for the big 2-0. Okay, the film's turning 20. We got the Jason Statham action classic, The Transporter. Now, The Transporter was actually written by Luc Besson and starred Jason Statham, who plays Frank Vine, who's a driver for hire and is a mercenary transporter who would deliver anything, anywhere, no question asked, for the right price. You also have Shu Kui was also in this. I mean, this is, I guess, say was like the movie that Jason Statham did stuff beforehand, like he was in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels beforehand. But I guess you could say Transporter was really the movie that put him on the map as a bona fide action star. And lots of people, I remember, when obviously I was a little young when this got released, but I remember like people always, what around early 2000, people always kept calling him like the next Charles Bronson, the next Stallone, and I guess I could see why, because the guy is one of the best action stars in recent histories. And Transporter is one of them. I mean, of course, he will go on to do like two other Transporter movies. There was also Transporter Refueled, which we don't talk about. But the first Transporter is really entertaining, if you guys haven't seen that. All right. Also turning 20, we got Knockaround Guys, which follows four sons of well known Brooklyn based mobsters and their desperate fight to retrieve a bag of cash in a small Montana town ruled by a powerful sheriff. As they reunite to find the money, they come face to face with the bloodshed and betrayal that is their birthright. Now, the film is also led by Barry Pepper, Vin Diesel, Seth Green, and the mobster dads in this are Dennis Hopper, John Malkovich. I mean, yeah, Knockaround Guys is a really fun action comedy to check out. I mean, of course, this was like one of Vin Diesel's like very earliest films he did, and it is really entertaining to check out. So yeah, definitely give Knockaround Guys a go. All right. Also, turning 20, we got Punch Drunk Love, which stars Adam Sandler, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, Punch Drunk Love was like the movie that really showcased Adam Sandler's dramatic territories, and really like showcase how good he could be even outside of comedy. And Punch Drunk Love is terrific here. Here it follows this entrepreneur with social anxiety who falls in love with his sister's coworker. It is so good. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson, of course, coming off of movies like Boogie Nights, did a great job with Punch Drunk Love. You had the late great Phil Seymour Hoffman also in this, Luis Guzman. I mean, one of like as much as I love Sandler when he does comedy, whether it's like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, or Big Daddy, when he gets into the dramatic territory, he could get into it. Whether you talk about Punch on Glove, Reign Over Me, most recent Hustle, or Uncut Gems, the guy had some cool dramatic chops, and Punch on Glove showed it. I mean, if you guys have not seen Punch on Glove, man, do yourself a favor, go check it out. It is a really pleasant job. All right. Now, for all you Pokemon fans, turning 20, we got Pokemon Forever. Where like, if you guys don't know much about the story here, is where like Ash Ketchum travels with with Pikachu and other friends to this island to investigate, and this rare species of Pokemon named Celebi. And with the help of Diana and her grandmother, Ash managed to capture Celebi. Now, this was a really interesting concept at the time because you guys know a bit of a spoiler for Pokemon Forever. You guys haven't seen that, but it ends up turning out that the kid in this was actually pretty much a time traveler and was actually a young Professor Oak. And if you guys don't know, or if you guys don't even remember, the GS ball from the Pokemon series, it turns out that it was never really mentioned or anything, but it was always speculated that the GS ball, which let's be real, we have never like they never really talked about the GS ball. Like that was so. Out of all these years of Pokemon, that was still one of the most oddest storylines that they never covered up. But anyway, if you remember the GS ball when they were like going to the Orange Island and traveling around GS ball that Professor Oak gave them, turns out that Celebi was pretty much in that GS ball. So yeah, and of course you had the debut of Suicune, which Suicune was of course first debut in the first episode, the Pokemon Johto Island one. But it was really cool seeing Suicune fun and action here. I mean, I've always liked Pokemon Forever. I mean, it's not as good as let's say Pokemon the first movie or Pokemon 2000 or anything, but I've always had a fun time with this one. Celebi, which is pretty much called a time travel Pokemon, which I think. I mean, I'm hoping we see Celebi again in the future. I mean, Celebi is such an iconic character right there. But yeah, Pokemon Forever is awesome in my opinion. All right. Also turning 20, we got a movie called Brown Sugar, which is actually directed by I can never pronounce his name. Famuyiwa, who on he directed Dope, which I love Dope. If you guys don't know much about this here, the film tells the story of the story of lifelong friends, A.R. Andre and editor in chief Cine, and the two can like attribute their friendship and the launch of their careers to a single semi childhood moment. And the day they discovered hip hop on a New York street corner. Now it's 15 years later, as they lay down the tracks towards our future. Hip hop is like the only thing that keeps them from coming to that moment of the corner here. Now it is led by Tay Diggs and Sanaa Lathan. You also have Mo Steph was in this, Queen Latifah, who does not love Queen Latifah. You even had cameos by Big Daddy Kane, Jermaine Dupri. He had some really cool like music cameos by Russell Simmons. Brown Sugar is actually a really cute, charming film. The chemistry between Diggs and Lathan is always good. I mean, it's not Lathan's always great. Come on. And how good was her new directing film on the come? That's not Lathan. It's just always awesome. But yeah, Brown Sugar is a really nice little cute, charming film. If you guys have seen that. Now we also got like some smaller fairs that turns 20. Like we got the Rules of Attraction, which stars James Vanderbeek, who of course at the time James was coming off of a successful TV show, which was obviously Dawson's Creek, and so he was like trying to find his tribe outside of Dawson's Creek, and of course that was pretty much the Rules of Attraction. You also had Ian Somerhalder. This was actually like years before the Vampire Diary kicked in. Now, if you guys don't know much about the plot for World's Attraction, it follows these three Camden college students who becomes to tangle in like a love triangle with a drug dealer, a virgin, a bisexual classmate, and all. And you also had Jessica Biel, Kate Bosworth, directed by Roger Avery. I mean, this is a really intriguing dark comedy at the time, and there was lots of really interesting dark based films, like dark based teen movies at the time, and Rose Attraction was one of them. So, really good little film here. All right, we also got the documentary, the Michael Moore documentary, Bowling for Columbine, which explores what Michael Moore suggests are the primary causes of the Columbine High School massacre in 1999 and acts of gun violence here, and he focuses on the background and environment in which like the massacre took place and some common public opinions and assumptions about bullet issues. I mean, this is maybe one of my favorite Michael Moore films he's done. I mean, this and maybe Fahrenheit 9/11 or Fahrenheit 11/9. He's made some of the best documentaries there is. And Bowling for Columbine is one of them. It even features like cameos by Trey Parker, which I always thought was interesting. So Yeah, really interesting documentary. If you guys never seen it, I believe it won the Oscar for best original for best documentary. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong there, but really good doc. Now, not everything that turns 20 that celebrated 20th anniversary was a winner. Also turning 20, we got the Guy Ritchie directed film Swept Away. Now, it's where like this young soldier who is cast adrift on an island with his employee, who's this rich self-centered woman who is used to having her own way, and cut off from society. He reverses the roles, stripping her from pride, vanity, and controlling her completely here until she ends up falling with him. Now, this movie does also star Madonna. It was directed by her then boyfriend, Guy Ritchie, who of course directed some iconic movies. Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, which I just mentioned, Snatch. But not everything he turns out turns to go, and that was of course came with Swept Away. This is made other than King Arthur, which King Arthur I was not a fan of. Other than King Arthur, this just might be one of Guy Ritchie's worst film he has ever put out. This movie just handily sucked. I mean, Madonna, who I don't mind Madonna, I love her music, and she has been cool and stuff like of course she's been in some really cool stuff over the years, as an actress like Evita and stuff. But sometimes her acting is not all that great, and Swept Away was one of them. I believe this scored lots of Razzies. Let me see how many Razzies this thing scored. I believe I think Madonna actually scored a Worst Actress nomination. You also had like Bruce Greenwood, Elizabeth Banks. What they were doing, this is beyond me. It was also led by Adriano Gianninitti, who is actually the son of former Italian Giancarlo Gianninitti, and the movie was a box office bomb, considered as one worst films ever made. Man, this movie was produced by Matthew Vaughn. Wow, I guess you gotta go everywhere. And at the Raspberry, it was awarded for a worst picture, worst supporting actress for Madonna, worst screen couple. I mean, and won the 2002 Stinkers Bad Movie Award and won three, including Worst Picture, Worst Actress for Madonna, Worst Screen Couple. Ouch, that really hurts there. But yeah, Swept Away is not that good. So not everything in 2002 turned you go. But anyway, let me leave you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? The 10-year one, obviously, I'm going to go with Argo. And the 20-year one, I'm going to go with Punch on Glove. Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Super signing out.